Hi everyone, this is Ava from avawaits.com. I am so excited to have you with us today. So I have a beautiful guest, Devi Brule of the Chrysalis Agency. Hi Devi.
Hello, great to be here.
So fantastic. I'm going to introduce Davy in a minute because she was actually my gorgeous photographer in my most recent photo shoot. But yeah, but before I do that, I just want you to imagine something with me because we're going to be talking about branding today. We're going to be talking about imagery in your business and how you can use that to your advantage. Before we even get into any of that, I just want to paint a scenario for you. So have you ever been online looking for a new resource? Maybe you've been looking for a coach, a service, a program, you have a question and you really want your question answered. And you've been looking around at websites and you come to a website and you click on it, and at least when you looked it up in Google, it looked like it would answer your question. And you open it up and what you see is pretty much just a white page with black text on it. And it's in Times New Roman or Arial, and it's just a blank page. And do you ever have that moment where you kind of open up one of those websites and you're wondering, did this person just create this in WordPress yesterday? Like, is it an established business? Or you have that question that pops up in your mind of, can I trust this person? Like, is this real? And so I know I've been to websites like that before, and even back in the day, my website was pretty darn simple, like as we first start out. And so if you've had that experience before, you have that idea in your mind of what it feels like to be on a website that's really simple and maybe doesn't even have any images at all. Sometimes it can make you switch to the feeling of doubt in your mind, or you kind of wonder, is this an established business? Does this business have the answer to my question? And then I'm sure you've probably had this experience too, where you hop onto a website and you open it up and it has this beautiful imagery up at the top. Maybe it's a beautiful banner at the top, or a photo of the owner of the website or the director of the company, or whatever it is that you're looking at. There are beautiful photos there. And you immediately get a sense of the person, and you immediately get a sense of the company and what it stands for. And when you open up those websites, you can tell often very quickly, especially if there's video or there is an image there, if you have an energetic connection to that person. And it helps you make your decision so quickly. And usually I have found whenever I've looked up websites and they're beautiful, that it just makes me feel at home. And so as Davey and I are talking about imagery in your business today, I want you to be thinking how you can start bringing beautiful images into your online presence. It could be through video, it could be through new photos, and how those are really going to let your business be seen in a completely different way when people find you for the first time online. So that's why I'm so excited to have my photographer here, Davey. I am so thrilled to have you. So everyone, this is Devi Brule. She's at chrysalisagency.com. Davey, would you like to introduce yourself for a minute and just share anything you feel like would be relevant for everyone watching today?
Sure. Yeah. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks, Ava, for having me. Ava and I have known each other for a long time, actually, but I was so honored that I got to collaborate with her several weeks ago. We did a photo shoot together, and it actually really helped me grow that aspect of my business and really embrace how much fun it is for me to do business photos for people that are looking to express themselves in a really authentic way on camera, which is sometimes really hard for people. So we're going to touch on that a little bit today and just talk about how you can really hone in on the value that you have to offer through your business, and do that with the images and the photos and even things like the fonts that you put on your website. So we're going to dig into all of that.
Great, yeah. And so we've known each other pretty much since birth. Davey and I, our parents have been good friends forever, and Davey now lives in Los Angeles. I still live up in Washington State, and it was interesting, Davey, because the process of choosing you as a photographer, it was interesting because I know for a while you didn't really have business photography up and front in your business and in the freelance work that you did. But I saw this one collection of photos that you had done, and I had been on your website a couple times, and I kind of had this little idea happen, and I figured I should give you a call and ask you if you would just do my business photos, because I had loved just the sweeping, flowing beauty that you had captured in another collection of photos that you had done. And so I reached out to Davy, and she said yes, thank you. And
Thank you.
yeah, and this was actually the first time I'd ever had a photo shoot in a warm location. I flew down to LA for this, and oddly enough, all of my photo shoots before this have always been in the cold.
We had perfect weather.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely amazing. So great. Well, I would love to hear a little bit more from you. I know you were maybe even gonna go into some of the preparation, the work that we did before our photo shoot. We can start there, or if you have some other things to throw in to just help people really bring this amazing imagery into their business, you are welcome to start at either place.
Okay, great. Yeah, I love this topic. This is really exciting to dive into. Let's see, Ava and I was so just delighted to hear from her. Ava's super photogenic, by the way, just organically. It's amazing. But it was a really fun collaboration because we started with some core questions about her business, and it wasn't just about, okay, let's make sure that you look pretty and are well lit. There was a lot of planning that went into it, and I think it really paid off. Ava will be the one to tell you, I think, but we really started a conversation about what is at the center of her business. What are some of the adjectives that describe your business? And I was asking questions like, what's the sort of architecture that you have in mind? If you want to be outside, like, what's the location going to look like and feel like? Or, even things like, I know she mentioned that, I think it was Monaco or some place like that she just made her feel wealthy because wealth is a part of her business. And so we started talking about location as a big player in the whole equation, and how the location shapes your photos as well as just all of this sort of all of these toys that you can sort of play with in shaping your photos. And if you have a sense of do you want them to be really bright and colorful, or do you want something like a little more subtle or muted colors? And what sort of props do we want to bring in, if any? Are there flowers, or do you want to be around flowers, or does that really not represent your business? So we really started to have a conversation, and she gave me all of these adjectives that were really useful.
I gave you a ton.
Yeah, no, and it was great because it wasn't really a process of trying to hit every single one. It was more like, and this is what I actually think, when you find a great photographer, this is what they should be able to provide for you, is they'll take that list of like what your business really embodies, or what you want to physically embody through your branding. And they'll go, oh, well, that makes me think of this other thing, or I think I have the perfect location for where we could do that, or, there's this element that I think if we put you in front of this backdrop or this color, it would really make you pop. And, you'll know when they're feeding you good ideas, because you'll be going, ooh, yeah, whoa, I never thought of that, and it will feel good. So yeah, there was a lot of prep work, and I can't emphasize enough how that can really make a difference when you take the time to talk about it in advance, and not just show up and have it be like a cookie cutter photography process where you're like in and out of a studio really fast. So that's important to me, at least.
Yeah, that was really important for me too. And so for all of you watching this, as you are preparing to have images taken of you and just be able to express your business and your brand through photos or through video, first of all, it is really, really important to get clear on what your business stands for. And even though we're not going into all of that today, Davey just mentioned a few things, including feelings that you want to invoke in people, colors, if you feel like there are certain props or certain places in the world that really represent your brand, that you can really bring those through. And just make sure that whatever photographer you choose, that you are talking to them about those things, and then they can help you integrate all of them into, or essences of them into the photos that you're creating. Yeah.
Yes,
that's so good
information.
Yeah. And I also really wanted to talk with you too about how a photo is this way to accentuate the value of what we offer as entrepreneurs. Because I know that many of my clients, many of the people watching this video, like you are entrepreneurs, you're wanting to make more money through your businesses, and you're really hoping that through an investment in photographs or imagery of any type, graphic design, video, whatever it is, that it really helps to accentuate the value that you have. So you may even be able to charge higher prices for what you have, or you'll have people see your images and they'll say, oh yeah, I trust that person. Davey, can you talk a little bit about that? About how a photo can really accentuate and pull value forward, like from a business and from a person, and really display that?
Yeah. I love that topic. So a lot of what I do is really focused around starting at the beginning with a client, finding out what is the value that they really feel they offer to the world. And if you're running a business as an entrepreneur that is something that you feel passionate about and that you know that you're good at, and you know, like, you're centered in, yeah, this is me, and I really like to represent this quality, then part of what I do is help you articulate that. So I think when you know it for yourself, that is the strongest place to start, and that will let you speak from a place of authenticity. So yeah, I think, like Ava was saying, in choosing the right photographer, it becomes a collaboration, and you can pull out that value just by creating the right feeling of ease, basically. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's so important that you feel aligned with who you're hiring. Either it could be a photographer, or it could actually be a web designer or a graphic designer of some kind, or even a consultant who you feel really understands you. Because as soon as you feel understood, and as soon as you feel like you can be yourself and that this person is going to help bring out the real you, then you actually leave behind all of this pressure. You know, we as business people, we experience all of this pressure around the need to be perfect, and when you're the face of your business, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to look perfect, and I wish I was 10 pounds lighter, and I wish I need to dye my hair, and these thoughts that we're not good enough in some way. Yeah. And the truth is that you are, because you're already offering this beautiful thing, and that is the value. So when you stand in that place and you can recognize, yeah, I know what I bring to the world, and you have aligned yourself with somebody who also sees that you really bring value, then suddenly if you're doing photography, you can be in front of the camera from this place of ease and enjoyment and going, oh, I'm so glad I feel understood, as opposed to, oh, I feel really nervous, like, that's a really big lens, and I don't know if I trust this person. And like Ava was saying, we make these snap judgments really quickly when we go to a website, and you may find that on a photographer's website if you connect with them or not, or that can be when customers are finding you and they're seeing your photos, and if it's a photo that you feel like it really magically captured this moment where you felt at ease and you felt like strong in what your business is about and relaxed, that's when your value is transparent, and that's when you can be really seen. And for some people, there's this whole visibility issue too around that, but that's the strongest place, and people really feel that connection when it is represented in a photo. It's the most powerful communication tool. It really is.
I love just thinking also about that people do, especially in this age, like technology age, we make really fast judgments as to who we're going to hire or who we're not going to hire. And so coming back to that idea of, the basic WordPress website that's just black and white, I probably would not hire someone who owns that website unless maybe I knew them personally and I knew the value of their work. But we really do want something that just helps us see a more rounded aspect of the business or a rounded aspect of the person that we're going to hire. Davey, also, would you mind talking about, because you and I were talking about this a little bit before we started filming, how there's also kind of this thing going on that I know I'm hoping not to promote is that kind of like that rat race of trying to keep up and trying to keep like becoming more perfect or getting fancier photos or having the bigger this or the bigger that, or like, you know what I mean? Like that rat race that sometimes it's so easy to get into that, I see a lot of people doing that. And I think that through photos, we actually just get to be us. And I'd love if you could share a little bit more about that. Just getting out of that, getting out of that rat race and just choosing the photos that are just it's just a representation of who we are.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I think it's about definitely hiring the right person, and I can't emphasize enough how important that connection is, because when you land in the right hands, then you can really shine with like what you're excited about. And the rat race it's something that exists. It's in every industry, really. It kind of feels like an epidemic sometimes.
I know, right? It's like we're just not perfect enough.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'm so hard on myself with that stuff, and I don't give myself nearly enough credit for the things that I do accomplish. So I can fully relate, but I think just creating time, when you are planning something like a photo shoot, you want to really create enough space and allow yourself the room to explore. So if you can just set aside the time, like whether it's the day of or the whole week before, or whatever your style is, if you want to take yourself to the spa to forget about all the pressure, grab a girlfriend and go to lunch. I mean, those things can actually do a lot in terms of getting you into the right headspace and really into the right body as well. When you're an actor and you have to be on camera, you're using your body, and when you are the face of your business, you're really putting yourself out there in a pretty bold way. And I think self-care is a really big one, especially in preparation when you're doing a photo shoot, because if you're running around and you're completely booked solid and you're trying to be perfect, basically, in every way and meet everybody else's needs, but not necessarily your own, that's a really precarious place to put yourself to. So I think scheduling the time, especially the day of the photo shoot, I know Ava did such a great thing for herself by, making sure that the day was pretty clear. She had scheduled plenty of time to get her hair done, and a professional makeup artist, and to get to the location, and we had snacks, we had water, we had coconut water, we had healthy snacks that were going to be nourishing, and we'd both eaten a good lunch, and we had chosen the time of day really specifically. So all of these planning elements went into, creating a really fun experience, at least from my perspective. It was...
Oh, I had a good time, I promise.
Cool. And I think, I was talking with an actor friend of mine recently who was just really uncomfortable with a photographer she had hired. It was based on a recommendation, and it sort of broke my heart, because I could tell it was very subtle, but there was a layer to which she looked a little bit timid, and I knew she was a little bit uncomfortable with that photographer. So again, it's an important factor.
Wow, that's huge, because just the energy that comes through a photo, if we have any of that timidness, it's going to show. And if you are a business owner, it's going to show up in your business photos. So make sure you are so well matched to whoever it is that you connect with for this imagery.
I'm sure you've had the experience of going to a website and you just immediately get a sense about that person. So photos, they're extremely powerful, but you want to make sure that you're using it in a powerful way, in a good way, that's going to make you feel like, well, if somebody doesn't connect with this photo, it's not because I'm not being me. It's because they aren't the right match for me, in which case there's no loss. But when somebody really is a match and they see your photo and you know that it's one that really represents who you are and the value in your business and you're being authentic to you, then it's a whole different story. And suddenly you're going to have, like, awesome clients that you go, oh my God, I don't know how they even found me, but how perfect.
Yeah.
That's the intention. So.
Yeah, you really want your clients to be able to feel you coming through that photo and to feel what you stand for. And that's why it's so important to get really clear on your business brand first, and then have that pulled through into the imagery.
Absolutely.
What was really funny, Davey, I'm just thinking back to our photo shoot, is that during break, I think you went out to get something from your car. I was sitting on the bench, and first of all, it was so amazing. The location we chose, there was this section that was kind of this inner park, and all of those photos, it just felt like I was in the middle of Paris in a beautiful park. And which I love, I love Europe so much, and so it was perfect, and so I was really comfortable, and I was snapping all of these little selfies on my iPhone while you were gone, right?
Great, yes,
right, because I was done up in makeup. I figured, well, might as well, and I posted one of them on Facebook, and it was hilarious because first off, I think this was a testament to how comfortable I just was at that moment, because I had just a million people saying, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Your new photos are so gorgeous." And here I am, and I'm like, that was just a selfie. Like, that wasn't even a professional photo. And so it was just a hilarious, just knowing that our experience together doing the photography work, that you had gotten me to that place where I was just so comfortable. And can we talk about the Aston Martin for a minute?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. That was I think that's a big reason, like, why we just had so much fun and laughed like the whole afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want to lead, or
Sure. I'll go ahead and share. From my perspective. So Davy was in front of me, and she was taking photos, and she would ask me things every now and then that really got my imagination going. And she would be talking about, I think you talked about Italy a little bit, and just to kind of bring in that feeling of Italy to the experience that we were having. And then I think you asked something about, like, imagine driving this car, and I think you threw out some name of a car, but I don't remember exactly. And I was like, and I turned to her with this like huge, like powerful stare, and I was like, I want to own an Aston Martin. and like, I'm
yeah, and I think I said something about driving along the Amalfi Coast or something like that, which is in Italy. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it was amazing because I think, like, right after you said that about the car, I could feel just a change in my body. And I think I think some of the photos that we chose right after that were really amazing. Like, there was some extra power that was just sort of integrated into those photos, simply because we had changed my vibration around something that I wanted to feel and experience. So it was really powerful.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love that. And Ava and I actually didn't we didn't talk about those topics a lot in advance. Especially, we were on the phone and in different states to begin with when we started the conversation. But I think that's something you can actually leverage with your photographer too, and make sure that if there's somebody who is open to working with you in that way. I mean, I know that's one of my favorite things to do with clients is, like, get their imagination running. And if they're open to that, then make sure they kind of know a little bit of your taste. If you don't already have a connection with them from the past, then if they know what kind of car you want to drive, or if they know that, like, you're really looking for a partner to be with, and that's really important to you, or if they know that, like, you see yourself as, making $500,000 a year next year or something, or just details about what's important.
Yeah.
What's that?
On stage.
Being on stage, that's a great one. Yeah, and just environments or places or just life elements that are going to bring out that imaginative quality in you while you're having your photos done. Like Ava's saying, it can make a really big difference when you mention the right thing at the right time, and suddenly your energy shifts and you go, oh yeah, oh my gosh, I love, you get in a different headspace, and it really shows.
Yeah.
So and it's just really fun.
I love it. I had so much fun. So before we finish up, can we just talk about Photoshop for like a minute before we finish up? Because Photoshop, I think, is kind of this big, monster, not so much a monster kind of thing happening in the photography world. I think it's just interesting. It's kind of a two-sided thing. I'd love to hear what you think about Photoshop.
Yes. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. It's something that I don't feel like people talk about all that much, and maybe I just am not in the right circles, but it's easy to choose a photographer based on their photos from the past, or if you have a friend who's saying, oh, I found somebody great. That's great, and you can definitely go with recommendations, but I think it's really important to somehow investigate the sort of photo editing that they do, and not just their photography skills. I've seen photographers with, their websites have photos that have maybe been photoshopped a little bit, but not very much, and they look more like the raw image file. And I've seen the opposite end of the spectrum, where there's websites with these like super photoshopped images that in not a good way, in a way that you can tell that, like, oh, actually that looks a little unnatural, like their eyes, especially if their eyes are whitened too much, and you go, oh, like, that doesn't look like a real person. that's something you really want to watch out for, because you may have a pretty good connection with somebody in terms of their personality, and they seem really nice, but if they are too heavy-handed or don't really understand Photoshop well, that might hurt your photos a lot. And yes, you can go and hire somebody separately to do photoshopping work. I mean, that's something that I can very easily offer with what I do. I'm super comfortable with Photoshop, but that would be correcting images that weren't mine to begin with, and that's a little bit funny. So I think it really pays off to find someone who you connect with, but who also has the skill set with the photography end, like knowing their lenses and knowing what a good camera is and what isn't, and also who has the Photoshop skills to just erase the stray hair that you have like flying out over here, and not make you into kind of a Barbie or something.
Yeah.
Make it, going too far. And it's a really fine balance, but it's something I think that you can trust your gut with too.
Yeah. And interestingly too, when I saw the raw files of our photos, I felt really connected to those ones at first, because it was the first time I saw the photos. And there was also part of me as a customer that was a little wary of letting them go into Photoshop and be color adjusted, because they looked so different on the other side. But when I look at them now, side by side, like, they needed to be edited. Like, they needed to not, have like a pale green hue to them. They needed to actually have the colors corrected. And I'm so glad that I was open to having that done, instead of, because I had done this once before where I had a photo shoot and I at the time didn't like how they looked edited. She did a really good job editing, but I just didn't, I was not ready to let go of the non-edited ones. And so I took the non-edited ones and used them. And now when I look back, I'm like, actually the edited ones looked much better.
Oh, interesting note. Yeah, that's so important. Yeah, there's a couple, I have a technical note about that too, which is that some photographers, I think, they can deliver photos to you either in a JPEG format, meaning they may actually take JPEG files to begin with, in which case you would be looking at a very different version to make your selections than if you were looking at raw files. And Ava, it sounds like what you're talking about, and I know what we shot were raw files. So when you're looking at raw, it's going to look like something that needs to be edited. And like she was saying, you may really connect with that because you're going, oh my gosh, like that, the expression is perfect, and I like my hair in this one, and or just, you resonate with the qualities that it has, and hopefully you can have enough trust to go, okay, let me step back, I'll spend a week and not even look at them at all, and then I'll see, when I come back to it, or I'll ask somebody else who's also a business professional who would give you their opinion too. So, but that's just to note that some people do actually photograph JPEGs that would look very different than the raw image file, and the raw version is sometimes a little bit scary, but basically you shoot raw files because they're larger and there's more information, so you can actually have better control over color correction later.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, and again, for all of you watching, like, this comes back to the professional image that you are bringing forward. Like, I mean, if I went to a website and I saw colors that were kind of like off, kind of weird, it might not really matter too much, but deep down it might affect me a little bit. I might be like, well, I don't know, that doesn't look like a finished photo.
Subconsciously, there's a lot that goes on we don't necessarily realize.
Yeah. So anyway, to finish up in just a minute, for everyone watching, this is just about you just knowing that you have this opportunity to bring these amazing images forward through your business. They can be a beautiful representation of everything that your business stands for, also everything that your client wants. And you can do it in a way where it's just really comfortable, as long as you match up with the right person, the right photographer. So that's very important. Davey, did you have anything else to share? Any last little words?
I'm trying to think if we covered everything. I guess, the only other thing I would maybe get into is kind of a separate issue of you can you can put a lot of time into your web design, and or if you have a web designer doing it for you, and there's so much more you can explore in that too, because it's kind of the whole package of how do you brand yourself, not just with your photos, but how could you also choose a font that is going to represent your brand as well? Yeah. And how do you choose your brand colors that are sort of your flagship colors that you may put on PDF documents that you send out, or you may just use it on your YouTube channel or your website banners or the buttons that people can click on your website. So there's all these different choices, and you can look into also researching, like, color psychology is actually a big thing, and how, looking at who is my audience, who am I trying to reach, and what do they already respond to. And some of that is like, can also be based on your gut instinct about it and going, yeah, I feel like this is right. But there's also a lot of research out there in terms of what people respond to and colors that people really don't like. So there's so many choices that are available to you, and I think it's just to your best advantage to really take full advantage, make sure that you take the time to build a website that feels like it represents the value that you offer, because I know that you guys have value.
Oh, yeah. Huge. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. Well, so everyone, once again, this is Devi Brule, and it's chrysalisagency.com, right? chrysalisagency.com. Fantastic. We're so excited to have her here, and I hope this was extremely valuable, especially as you go out and bring new images onto your websites and your cards and your brochures and every single thing that you have that really represents your business and what you do. So with that said, we'll go ahead and finish up. Thank you, everyone. And Devi, thank you so much for being here, and beautiful photos. I had an amazing time working with you, and I'm so glad I asked.
Me too, Ava. It was an honor for me. Thank you for hosting this. So yeah, I look forward to the next one, and your photos are so elegant. You embody your business so well. So thanks for asking me.
Yes, of course. And if you want to see a sneak peek at some of Devi's photos at avawaits.com, so www.avawaits.com, you'll see some of hers as well as some from previous photo shoots as well. So they'll be there. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.